Fu. It's a Chinese fortune cookie. If you take a fortune cookie out of the wrapper and you go like this, what happens to the cookie? Pretty much smashes and goes into crumbles, okay? Wing Chun is not a fortune cookie. Wing Chun is like a spring. So if we smash the spring doesn't break like a fortune cookie, right? If you let go, what happens? It just bounces, right? But it expands again, right? So that's, Wing Chun is like that. So this tonight, getting thrown around, right, for the more older students or advanced students. And so the goal is to go with the flow, okay? So if the other night, this came up because, and Mike was kind of locking up, okay?
I didn't work with
Yeah, so let me tell you, let me show you kind of what it felt like, what he was doing. Okay, so I'm gonna be Mike, okay? So go ahead and lock me.
Okay.
Go ahead. No. Lock me here. Just lock me.
Oh.
You feel it?
Yeah.
What'd I do? I resisted, right? So what Mike was doing, this is mostly for Griffin and Mike and Dwayne, is that as he strikes me, I defend, right? So in this case, Dwayne's going to lop this. Hope you're enjoying the content. If you do, please like and subscribe. It'd be very much appreciated. Also, if you're looking for some custom designed Energy Wing Chun t-shirts, please click in the description below. Thank you again, and back to the video. Hand right here, as he goes to lop it, instead of going with the flow, Mike was resisting. So Dwayne's pulling his energy back. My energy is going this way, so I'm resisting that. Okay, so going with the flow is what happens is as he pulls it, I accept, and I can step in. Okay, if he pushes me, right? So in Wing Chun we want to bend and flow, right? Oh, we want to expand. If they give us spacing, we expand, right? Like a spring. You press a spring. If they give you any kind of let go, the energy goes right back, right? The spring occupies that space, right? So you can never break a spring because a spring will, right, collapse, but still you have to use energy to collapse, right? This doesn't break like if you were to do, say, a fortune cookie, right? Since we're talking about Kung Fu, it's a Chinese fortune cookie. If you take a fortune cookie out of the wrapper and you go like this, what happens to the cookie? Pretty much smashes and goes into crumbles, okay? Wing Chun is not a fortune cookie. Wing Chun is like a spring. So if we smash the spring doesn't break like a fortune cookie, right? If you let go, what happens? It just bounces, right? But it expands again, right? So that's, Wing Chun is like that. So if he pulls on me, right? So he hits me again, right? He strikes, and he pulls, I follow him, right? So he pulls and I follow. If he pushes on me, just push right there, watch my technique. See how it's bending with him, right? I could push on it. I could resist him and use strength and push back, but then I just give him energy. So I have to accept what he gives me. So even here, so if he goes to strike me, I could go like this and push hard on him back, right? Or I can, see how I'm bending? I'm not pulling back, he's pushing on it. Okay, do you understand? Right, I could be, it looks the same. I could do this, right, which is I'm pulling back, or if he pushes and I'm not pulling, he's pushing me. It looks the same. Except when you feel it, it feels different. I mean, if I were to pull back, sometimes you might see something like that where we lose the contact point. But if he pushes on and I accept it, you see, it doesn't look the same. It doesn't look, right? It doesn't look like, it could look like I'm pulling back, but he's actually pushing on it. But I have the springiness. As you push on the spring, it gets tighter, right? Okay, so instead of, so lop again, so instead of resisting here, see I'm resisting, I'm tensing up just to kind of give you, right, he pulls, I resist, his motion would be to come back in on me, right? If I resist, my energy going that way, and if he lets go, my hand will come here, and then he could just attack me, all right? So to avoid that, he pulls on it, I don't want to resist, I just want to follow. Now, he can't do that. See how he can't strike me now, right? Because if I were to, again, here, and he pulls, right? And I resist and he lets go for some reason, see how my hand's now out of play because the momentum takes it offline. And so he can attack me. To stop that, he goes to pull, right? Pull. pull, I accept. Now he can't do that because instantly there is a threat coming at him. Right? So if you were to go try to strike me like he did earlier and he goes to pull, see, it's very hard for him because the game changes. Okay, so now as we're lopsawing and I pull him, see he's following me now. I go to push on him, see how he's following? He accepts. He doesn't lift, he stays in his horse. Okay, I go to pull on him, he follows. He could probably follow a little bit more. Right, you can follow, yeah, see? Right, so same thing, if he's gonna pull me around, I'm gonna go with his flow. Right, so we're gonna listen, so however he attacks me, okay? So I let him, right? See, I don't ever resist him. If you don't resist, then it removes, most people tend to resist, right? There is actually a good video I was watching the other night where this guy was doing a demonstration of Wing Chun, like with all these like different martial artists, like I don't know if they were all black belts. And so he was trying to explain that typically when you go to grab somebody and they go try to escape, what do you typically do? Yeah, you fight the pressure, right? And so it was a girl black belt. So the guy grabbed her hand, arm like this, and says, "Try to get out." So instantly she fought the pressure. And when she went to fight the pressure, he went like this.
Yeah.
Right? Because why? What should you be fighting? The person, not the hand. Who cares about this? If they got this, right? Then most people tend to think about that. Well, if you grab me there, what if I went like this? Why do I need to worry about this at all? I'm not right. So if someone grab me here, I'll throw a Wing Chun punch then, right? Why do I need to worry fighting this hand when the goal is to hit the person, is to throw that punch, right? Even if you pulled me, that's okay, right? See now, did I not stop his pressure? Right? Because now what does he do? He diverts his attention from here to defend the punch, because now it's a threat. So you always want to throw out a threat, right? So, but in order to get to that point, you have to learn to flow and go with them. If they push you, you go with it. Don't do like, if someone pushes you, so let's say he goes bonks out and he pushes into me, so this is what it should look like, right? My whole body structure should move. But what you don't want is he pushes me again, is it here? And he pushes me, and I resist it. Don't counter. Just as he pushes, I'm resisting him, right? So my toes are up. Right? If he keeps pushing me, now I have to lean, right? So what he wants to do is, when he feels my pressure and I lean, so then now counter, then he'll counter that. Once I get that feedback, once he gets the feedback from me, he's going to counter that, right? And so it can be the same thing. If I'm, go ahead, now counter it, whatever you feel here, push. Yeah, so what happened? I collapse, right? If I collapse, it's like the spring, he expands into my structure, so now I don't have space to work, okay? So if I push, so we're two springs, I'm pushing, now he's going to use that against me. If I collapse, he'll use that against me, he expands. Right? If I push, he absorbs a little bit, and then once he finds the opening, whether it's stepping off a little bit to the side and then he has an angle to attack, maybe he do something like that. Right? So how you like to step to the side? It's good, you can use it. It's better to use it when there's incoming pressure. You don't want to do it just to do it. You want the incoming pressure to force you to have to go step to the side, because that tells you that so if I give him incoming pressure a lot, right now, is that better for you? Step to the side. If I give him a lot of incoming pressure, I'm just gonna lean just to show, right? It's hard for him to deal with me straight up, right? Like he has to, so I want him, step aside. So he's gonna step aside, see how he stepped outwards, right? Because he's forced to, because I told him, based on my body position, based on my energy, I told him that he has to step aside, otherwise he'll have problems like he did the first time. Okay? Right, so what it should look like is Dwayne's gonna pull me around. Okay. I accept everything he gives me. Let's go. Yep, go. Okay? So you'll never see me resist him. Pull, push and pull. Yeah, see? I accept it. Right? Does that make sense?
But when you're accepting people, why aren't you trying to get your hand out of that wrist grasp? I know you're moving, I know you're flowing, I know you're striking,
Yeah.
but
Because it depends on the drill, right? So each drill has a particular purpose. All right. Sifu used to say, hitting is easy, controlling is hard. Okay, so the hardest technique, I think naturally we always want to fight back, right? All right, so that's not necessarily a learned or a trained or developed like technique or situation. So this particular drill, going with the flow or getting thrown around, what Sifu used to say, is to learn how to accept. And don't worry about attacking, like, right? Because if we're truly attacking and we both are free to attack, go ahead, start. Yeah. I'm not gonna be like sitting here waiting for him, right, waiting, right? I'm not gonna wait. But if it's the drill to push me around, right? So if now I can freely attack him, right? And that's both, well, what is he gonna learn from that? What am I gonna learn from that, right? We can go longer, right? So he lops, right? And he attacks, right? What's he gonna learn? Nothing, right? So the goal is to learn to pull, attack, right? Set him, move him around. See how he flows with you versus being stuck. And you, probably I might have you be in there a little bit. There's a difference also to be pulled. So when you're getting pulled, you want to think you're like a camper, like a trailer, right? When you pull a trailer, right, at some point, then it moves, right? If there's slack, the trailer doesn't move by itself. The car has to pull it, or the truck has to pull it, and then it follows. So when you're getting pulled, if you're not trained in it well, what you'll do is you'll initiate, you'll lock up, or you anticipate the pull, so you'll step into the pull versus being pulled. Does that make sense? Right? So normally you would feel the weight behind it, right? The trailer. But because the trailer moved on its own, rolled forward, and then you move, right? Then you'll have it maybe. So if the trailer moved 5 foot on its own somehow, and to say you could like bend like that, the hitch could bend, like is like a spring. If it was able to go 5 feet, and then your truck moved, how far would it take for the truck to start pulling the camper or the trailer? Right, if it moved 5 feet forward, assuming that it was taut, and then for some reason the camper moved 5 foot forward on its own, right, magically. How far? Yeah. So the truck would have to go 5 feet before it felt any kind of weight behind it. Okay, so that means, so same thing with being a human. He goes to pull me, right? Go ahead, just slap me. So he goes to pull me, and I activate. That feels different, right?
Yes.
Right.
You go ahead.
But let's do the camper thing idea, right? So this would now, if he were to pull me, I'm going, right? So now he would feel the weight. He's the truck. So now let's just hold this right here. So if I move up here, now if he goes to pull me, it takes all the way there to move me. Okay. So now if we do it in terms of like more real time, right? So as he goes to pull me instead, I shoot forward, and now see how he has a lot more slack. I didn't feel the weight behind it. So if you're not used to this kind of drill, two things will happen. One, he goes to pull, I resist. The other one is he goes to pull, I walk, I anticipate and I go forward. Okay, so that's similar to when you do like other techniques when we do like okay, so he goes to push in on me, right? And so then I want to pock and strike. So I'll pull this back and then pock and strike. Look what happened. Because, right, that's like me giving slack, right, like me stepping forward. But look what happened now. He closed in on me because he's doing it correctly. So now my pock and strike didn't work. Right, so now if I did this, it works. You see that? Right, so even if I maintain forward pressure, he pushes in, it works still. But if I pull back to then pop, then it didn't work. So I pulled back, and then that gap closed. He closed my space up. Okay, so when you're so getting pulled around is I accept what he gives me. He goes, I accept what he gives me. If I don't accept what he gives me, then I'll pull in and then I collapse myself. Or if I don't accept what he gives me, he goes to push, I resist, and then he attacks me, right? I go to push, I want to do pak da, right? If I go to push and pak da, he would have already probably got me because his sensitivity, okay, if you feel the push, he would counter me.
But when you're accepting people, why aren't you trying to get your hand out of that wrist grasp? I know you're moving, I know you're flowing, I know you're striking,
Yeah.
but
Because it depends on the drill, right? So each drill has a particular purpose, all right? Sifu used to say, hitting is easy, controlling is hard. Okay, so the hardest technique, I think naturally we always want to fight back, right? All right, so that's not necessarily a learned or a trained or developed like technique or situation. So this particular drill, going with the flow or getting thrown around, what Sifu used to say, is to learn how to accept. And don't worry about attacking, like, right? Because if we're truly attacking and we both are free to attack, go ahead, start. Yeah. I'm not gonna be like sitting here waiting for him, right, waiting, right? I'm not gonna wait. But if it's the drill to push me around, right? So if now I can freely attack him, right? And that's both, well, what is he gonna learn from that? What am I gonna learn from that, right? We can go longer, right? So he lops, right? And he attacks, right? What's he gonna learn? Nothing, right? So the goal is to learn to pull, attack, right? Set him, move him around. See how he flows with you versus being stuck. And you, probably I might have you be in there a little bit.